Hi, my name is Onyx Soul Bianco, aka OSB, the creator. And if you, like myself, identify as neurodivergent, if you have ADHD, if you're hypersensitive, if you're on the autistic spectrum, or if you're within the queer family. So, if you are part of the rainbow tribe, this message is for you. We are the stories we tell ourselves. And something that I've been coming up against left, right, and center in my life as a queer identifying, trans identifying, neurodivergent individual, is that a lot of the stories we've been offered relative to ourselves are shit. And they're limited not just in the fact of them being shit, but limited in the fact of them not coming from a space of greater depth of understanding of the gifts and the inherent purpose of identifying in such a way, of existing with these qualities, characteristics, with this makeup, if you will, this rainbow makeup. I am a powerful and prolific artist and creator. I've been creating things of all kinds in all different areas for the vast majority of my life. Where I've gone wrong in all this is that I haven't had the proper narrative to help me to understand why it's been so difficult for me to put myself out there. And I've essentially been taking cues from neurotypical folks about how to show up in the world and manifest things. Obviously, that hasn't worked. And from the queer side of the family, the rainbow family, I've taken on a crap ton of shame just for simply being who I am. And the glorification of substances so as to escape and as the only means of connecting to others. I feel so frustrated and fed up with these stories, these limiting narratives, these frameworks that don't freaking work. Now, as an autistic person, those of you out there, if you know, you know, my special interest for over 10 years now, more, one of them has been astrology. However, I can't actually ultimately say that it's been strictly astrology, because ultimately what I've always been drawn to, deeply immersing myself in studying, has been various frameworks through which we can view the human experience, the inner experience. So, depth psychology, philosophy, the astrology obviously, mythology, symbols and symbology, etc. Astrology, though, however, because of the fact that it represents these deeper truths of what it means to be a human being, but through the lens of the cosmos. Are you freaking kidding me? This is like one of the coolest things ever. People just don't fully get, I think, truly, how freaking cool and amazing and awesome astrology is. Because at the end of the day, since I was a very young kid, I was always very into the stars, looking up at the sky. Frankly, because I've always been looking up there like, what the hell am I doing down here? Obviously, I'm meant to be up there. Where's, the spaceship that's meant to beam me the hell out of here, right? No offense to the planet Earth, it's beautiful. I love it, but life here is confounding, to say the least. Anyway, I say this because with this being my special interest, you know then that this is something I've gone very deep into. And in fact, prior to when I started transitioning, which was a year ago, I was going by my middle name, Sol, S-O-L, and I gave very many readings, astrology readings, which I used to call inner radiance readings, because Sol, like the sun, the whole point was about shining a light on what's within. For many clients, and prior to that point, I was doing this just for literally any friend or family member who was even remotely interested and knew what time they were born. I would literally just be like, yo, let's sit down right now so that I can talk to you for 2 hours about yourself and what all these things mean. How these different planets and etc. shine light on who you are. I'm sharing this because now as Onyx, I've been trying to find out how my passions relate to who I'm understanding myself to be. And concurrently with this transition journey in which I've been coming deeper into the truths of myself relative to my physical expression and etc., I've also been coming to understand my neurodivergence, in the sense that I've always understood that I am hypersensitive. I've always understood that I'm wired differently, but I never had it put to me through these lenses. I wish, as a kid, that I understood this stuff, because probably would have made my life make a whole lot more sense. But on the other hand, I can see the blessing in that I can see the blessing in me not having had that understanding earlier, and it's this. By virtue of not having had those frameworks, I was exploring other frameworks, and in part this is why I was so driven to explore things like astrology and psychology and etc. But ultimately, I believe that those who are in this rainbow tribe, those who are neurodivergent, those who are in the LGBTQ family, and especially those who are in the T part of that family, the transgender or genderqueer, non-binary, any of the sort, I really truly believe that why we are the rainbow tribe is because in this world that is dominated by dualities, black and white, it's one thing or the other, we are the color that breaks open that dichotomy. By virtue of not identifying with the orientation in which our attraction or sexuality is supposed to move, we're creating spaciousness. By virtue of not fitting neatly into male or female, again, we're breaking open that duality so that the color can come through, the spectrum of possibilities. Similarly, those who are wired differently in terms of their neurological makeup, breaking through all of those freaking rigid, terrible, confining categories, roles, expectations. And I believe that this is so, so integral to our soul's path and purpose in this life, and in fact, to the evolutionary trajectory of humanity as a whole. And I believe that, in part, this has to do with the rainbow tribe of folks, those who are neurodivergent, those who are queer in any way, shape, or form, coming to stand with empowerment relative to who they are. Not through this lens of being disabled, not through this lens of being some sort of shameful abomination of God. No. And the thing of it is, Having spent as much time as I have looking at the astrology of others, my own astrology, and the overarching astrological rhythms and etc. of the collective, I know that this is, in a sense, a map. It's a blueprint for the soul. It's a blueprint for human evolution. And all this to say, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you, neurodivergent people. I want to talk to you, queer people. I want to talk to you, fellow Rainbow Tribe members. Because through the lens of astrology, I've come to understand how my very makeup is one of the greatest gifts that I have to offer. And if there's any single frustration that I feel, it's with how difficult it's been for me to take these gifts and find a cohesive, harmonious way with which to give them and to receive support in return. It's been so difficult. It's been so difficult because I understand how, by virtue of who I am, how I don't fit in out there. But I do understand that the greater an awareness that I have of my own makeup through lenses like astrology or other, which is to say lenses that aren't those that already exist out there, that are limiting and that are pathologizing, okay? When I take in a framework like astrology and I consider the grand cosmic divine orchestration that's gone into my very being and essence, then I can stand in a more empowered place. And this is what I want for all of us. If you are someone who is neurodivergent or queer, if you belong to the Rainbow Tribe in any way, shape, or form, I want to talk to you about your astrology. I want to share with you my gift for viewing the human experience, and especially our rainbow experience, through this lens of astrology. And I'd love to simply, in doing so, interact with you and your understanding of what it means to be a part of this tribe. I often wonder what it would have been like, if I had grown up having had this understanding of myself, especially with regards to my neurodivergence. I'd love to hear, if that was your storyline, what that was like for you. I feel like by virtue of us coming together through the lens of astrology, with this idea in mind, that a lot of magic and beauty can occur. But more importantly, justice is the word that's coming to my mind. Justice in the sense that if there's any great tragedy that I have experienced in my life, it's been that of not having understood to the best of my ability. That's not the right words. I've understood it to the best of my ability. It's been not having had it reflected back to me, my magnificence, simply for being who I am in my uniquest expression. So, 14 minutes in, this is what I'm trying to say. If you are a part of the Rainbow Tribe, which is to say neurodivergent, LGBTQ, if you are interested in this offer of having your natal chart read by me, I will offer to you a special price for this service because I want to talk to you. Whether that's sliding scale or whether that's the session at a discounted rate, depending upon your circumstances, reach out to me. Send me an email, comment on whatever this is, wherever I happen to share this. Whatever, I don't care. Just get in touch, let me know, and let's figure out a way to come together. And I especially invite those of you who think that astrology is a complete crock, because let me tell you, I'll put it this way. My study of astrology started out primarily as, like I said, a study of what's deep within, right? So in essence, what it's felt like for me is that I jumped into a very deep hole. I just kept falling deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And then when I came out the other end, what I learned was that actually it was a black hole. And I was floating in the cosmos. And I say this as a way of saying that my studies of things like astrology have wrapped back around to the natural world, to the science behind the planets, to the physics behind things like energy and gravity and time and etc. And not only do I fully believe that this phrase, as above, so below, is true, I mean, I've felt it down to my very core. I've experienced it. The unity, the union of the above and the below, the union of something that's quote unquote metaphysical or spiritual or woo-woo. The union of that, the truth of that, and what it reflects, how it's literally mirroring what is being reflected to us through the fields of physics and astrology and etc. I want to talk to you if you're a doubter, especially. Nah, I'd also like it to be easeful. So if you're genuinely interested, please reach out. But also, too, I invite you to reach out even if you have, your suspicions about something like astrology. Let me be your entryway into how genuine a reflection this really is. Thanks for listening. Yeah, I'll leave my information in the description of wherever this is that you find this. Okay. Peace.